Okay, in this next video we are going to take a sketch as part of our future mint box creation, and we're going to put it into Illustrator as a template and start outlining. So I'm going to create new. I know that this particular document is going to be, the picture that I took of this document was about, it's going to end up to be about 30 by 20 inches here. And that's just through experience of having to import this particular image already. So I'm going to go ahead and title it Mint Box Creation. Great. I'm going to hit Create. I'm going to have my artboard here, 20 by 30 across, 20 down. And now I'm going to go get my original sketch. I'm going to go to File, Place. Going to get the Appa sketch. This is Appa from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I am going to make it a template. As you saw in the previous videos, we're going to use a template to be able to create our lines over it without disturbing the underlying template itself. All right, I'm going to hit place. And so here is the actual drawing. This is the hand drawing. Just a little bit of a background. I went and looked up a graphic image of Appa, the air bison or the sky bison, and I drew my interpretation of that graphic, and then I added some background materials. So in thinking about our mint box creation, one of the things that we want to do at this point is think about layers. As you saw in the previous video on the intro about the different layers within the cityscape or the ocean scape, whatever particular theme that you're going to select, you want to separate your different components by layers. And so I'm kind of visually seeing here that the mountain range will be one layer, the ground with the plants coming out of it will be another layer, and then Appa himself will be another layer. So I'm going to start by doing the back layer first. And so I'm going to come over to my Curvature Tool, what we used in one of our earlier videos. Because I am going to make this a laser cut item, I'm going to start with my outlines in red, and I'm going to do all the inner work in black. That way the laser cutter will know, cut the red, engrave the black. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to make a fill of none, and my color for my border or stroke color will actually be red. So we'll go with that color right there. So I could either click here or I click here. For me, it's a little easier to click on this side on my properties panel. All right, so that should start my work here. So I am going to, first of all, I know that the whole part, the mountains here, but also all underneath here are going to be fit into the mint box. So I'm just going to start on this corner here. I'm going to double click. I'm making a straight line. Double click. Double click. Double click. And now I can start doing my single clicks for my curves. And then I'm going to zoom in here and take a look at the detail. Probably double click there. Now, because this is my drawing, I could make it look differently than what I have here, or I could make it look exactly as I have it in my original sketch drawing. It's really up to me. Okay, notice here in this section, the mountains do separate, but because I am just doing the outline right now, I'm going to ignore this section here, and I'm just going to continue on to my next area of my mountains. I'm going to double click this one. I kind of like this jaggedy look here, like that. And I'll come down like that. Single click to close my shape. So now my mountains portion or my mountains layer is ready. And if I go back to my selection tool, I'm just going to take that and I'm going to move it off to the side here. And in fact, just to visually see it a little bit better, I'm going to create another artboard using my artboard tool, and I'm just going to draw around it and leave it like that. Okay, and I'm going to hit return and hit return again to confirm my artboard. And I'm just going to leave that sitting there waiting for my next task here. So the next one is going to be the ground, and I'll speed through this layer here. Okay, and then right here I know that although Appa is here in front of this layer, in order to make this layer complete, I'm going to have to make it go all the way across the back of Appa. Okay, hold my spacebar down to move, and I'll keep going. Okay, so that finishes my second layer, and I'm going to move this one off to the side, and I'm going to make an artboard around that. This is just visually so we can clear this up so you can see everything in its place. So I'm going to zoom out for a bit so you can see I've got my mountain layer and my ground and plant area, and now I will focus on Appa. Okay, so the Appa outline is done, but now I'm going to do some of the internal drawing for Appa just so that I know what I want to have engraved. The red is going to continue to be what's cut out from Appa. The black, which I will now switch to, will be what is done internally or engraved onto Appa. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click on my border color and change that border color to black. And I'm going to now use my Curvature Tool. And here's the thing. So now I need to create all the internal parts of Appa. One of the things that I'm going to do for now is as I make these shapes, I'm going to avoid touching the red area. And in fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lock the red area. And what this does is it just keeps it from getting moved around, because I don't want to take a chance of kind of messing up what I've done already for my outline. So now I'm going to come back to my Curvature Tool, come back to my color, change it to black, and I'm going to start creating the internal outlines. Now, a couple things to notice. I'm going to actually follow the curves and make this look like how I drew them, so they're not perfectly straight. I'm going to draw up to the point close to the end of the arrow, but not touching the head. I'm gonna fix up all of these points later. So I'm done right now with this particular portion, this arrow. So I'm gonna hit the Escape key on my keyboard, and that just removes the use of the tool there. And now I can move on to another place. So for example, I can click here and I can just do that single line. I can start again, just hitting Escape each time, hitting Escape. And so I'm starting now to make these different lines throughout my creation. Okay, if you see this thing hanging on, just hit Escape and that'll get rid of it. So I'm just going to go over and get all of these internal lines done. Okay, so now that I'm done with my internal pieces for Appa, one of the things that I can go back and do using my direct selection tool is actually sort of tie up loose ends. I can go inside and now I can click on a single node and I can drag that node to attach it to the outline. I don't have to do this, but I think ultimately when it comes time to printing this out, it'll look nicer if the lines are all fluid, if they look like they're attached to each other and that the piece is sort of complete in that way. So I'm just going to go around, and I will speed through this, but I will go around and finish up all the connection points. Okay, at this point, Appa is done, and the other pieces that I do need to clean up are going to be some of the features in the plants here that I might want to engrave, as well as a few bits of the mountain here, and maybe add some more to that. So depending on each drawing, the level of detail is obviously up to the artist in terms of how much detail they want to actually include on the laser cut. And then the other thing to think about is, because I paint them, some of these shading details don't really need to be highlighted now. Those could be painted in later when it comes time to actually have the outputted wood ready in my hands. Okay, and that's it for outlining.